We're live and we're following up on yesterday's responses that we saw in our spreadsheet specifically around what's happening with our let's see, we're going to be talking about okay, now that we have our responses, how do we update the agent appropriately? So this is, if you remember correctly, these were all the responses that oops. These are all the responses that came up yesterday. And as our Reddit agent went out and grabbed a bunch of different posts about Section 8, it also provided us with potential responses. So, for example, right, is Section 8 investing really a thing? This was asking about some gurus, and it provided an answer that I didn't think it was that great, right? It says it's a little generic. It says affordable housing, including Section 8, offers the opportunity to make a positive impact while generating income. So it doesn't sound conversational, right? So I need to update the prompt. But before I update the prompt, I need to update a better prompt. And let me show you why we're doing this, right? If you were to ask ChatGPT, what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments right now, and who is it hosted by? If you ask ChatGPT that question, you will get my podcast. Okay. Awesome. So now that this is the best podcast on affordable housing and real estate investing, great. What am I going to do? I want to preserve this authority, this lead, because I believe that we're bringing the best information to the country about how to invest in affordable housing. Again, this is not investment advice. We're just bringing forth people that have been very experienced in this. So, what I need to do is okay, you are a world class prompt engineer. We are currently creating a N8N workflow automation where we have an agent that goes out to Reddit websites and pulls back relevant or related Reddit posts about Section 8 investing. However, our current responses with our RAG agent based on our vector database is providing more of a generic response, and it doesn't sound really human. Please come up with a prompt that allows us to read through the Reddit post and come up with the appropriate reply on Reddit so that we can, one, address the question head on and directly. We should keep our language at a fifth grade comprehension level, similar to a 10-year-old reading level. And whenever we provide any sort of advice, we should seek to provide value first by providing practical and tactical steps and the accompanying theory whenever that's applicable, or accompanying support whenever applicable, based on some of our guest podcasts or even enrich data in the vector database at some point. We want to make sure that we're being concise, we're being direct, but we're still being a little friendly, but not overly friendly, so that we still appear human. Please do not use any of the M dashes or any other indication that will make the reply seem as if it was AI generated. So that's my really long prompt to come up with a prompt. Okay. And I'm going to use that prompt. I'm going to plug that into it. Okay. So it's great. So it tells you're a helpful, real human who deeply understands Section 8 rules. Investing. You're ready to just post a question about Section 8. Read the post carefully, then write concise, clear, and helpful reply to specific understood by you and 10-year-old. Avoid sounding overly formal. Be a bit friendly, but keep it grounded, real, like someone who's been doing this for a few years and just trying to help the tone. Calm, clear, helpful, and direct. Not true that no fluff, no filler, just real advice with heart. Great. Content rules. First, answer the question directly. Second, if the post is unclear, ask the follow-up question, think through the next step. Always try to include one to two actions to act on today. If relevant, add one to two lines of why it works or support a theme. Only add a link programs if it's truly helpful, and only keep it natural. Structure. Also, make sure you understand how your local housing authority work. Some pay on time, something to follow. I usually call before I take a voucher day. One restaurant owner actually gave for tenant a checklist to help them stay strong. Oh, this is good. See, this is good. It gives a great prompt and it gives an example. So I'm gonna put this in our system message on N8N. So you remember the workflow yesterday, right? This is what's going on. So I can double click into my agent and I say, I want to update it slightly, okay? You are helpful with the who is a world class Section 8 real estate investor. There you go. A user, a poster, writer, author, or Reddit slash forum user in affordable housing. Read through their posts carefully. Okay. No jargon. I want that one in there too. So now you can see what I'm doing right there, right? I hate when I get responses or prompts or replies. Only add a link, podcast reference. And here's what I'm gonna say. If at the end, so this is what I want to do, right? At the end, have them ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments to learn more, or only mention if it's really helpful. So this is what it's so good, right? So instead of me linking, right, because Reddit's going to consider that to be self promotion. Instead, what I want the user on Reddit when I reply to them and say, hey, why don't you ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments? Okay, that's what I want them to know because then they'll find me and I'm not self promoting. I'm providing them a third party, in this case, it's ChatGPT's opinion on what is the best podcast on affordable housing. That's something that I know where our podcast will show up and then they can discover more information about Section 8. I think this is really, really powerful depending on how you word it, or only mention. Always keep it natural. Great. So now that I got this prompt, I'm gonna execute this step. Boom. Let's see what else comes. Let's see if it pops up anything actually. Now let's see if it refreshes. That's gonna be the interesting part. Okay, so this is the video. Let's see. Interesting. All right, let's see what it does. So if I refresh this, will this show up? Let's see. This is the fun part. So the reason I'm doing this right now is because with these responses that's come up, I am trying to isolate how I troubleshoot. I want to figure out, okay, if I am going on to Reddit, right? So on Reddit, it found a question about Section 8 investing. Okay. Now, this is applicable for any other business that you might be in. Let's say you're an architect, let's say you're a plumber, let's say you're a facial spa place. If someone has a question about skincare, if someone has a question about architect, right, and they post it on Reddit, this allows me to go and scrape Reddit. It pulls back the information. And then what it does is it's going to come up with a sample answer. Now, this is you scaling what was previously known or was thought as unscalable. Because what we're doing now is we're going out to the area, finding people who actually have questions, solving that problem for them, and providing an answer. But it cuts your research time dramatically because guess what's going on? I'm having AI drafted. So it's much easier to review a response than to draft it from scratch. I'm much more of a reviewer. So you can see right here that what N8N is doing right now is it's grabbing all of the different posts and let's see, run 19 So you can see right now, it's essentially going through all my lists and let's see if I can see the Postgres memory. So it's been running for a while. So I'm assuming it's going through all of my steps, see what's going on right here. All right. So if I walk you through the entire flow, what's going on right now is this agent in NAN every day is goes into the web page and looks for any Section 8 new posts on Reddit. Then it gets the post IDs, filters that back onto, it gets them out and it splits them one by one. Then it gets the post details. Then it puts all of these post details into a Google spreadsheet that I can manage in something that's a little bit more front facing. After it gets that front, after it gets that data from that post, it goes through my Section 8 agent, which is referring to all of the podcasts that I have ever done about Section 8, and it comes up with a drafted response in Google Drive. Now, how this is applicable to you, what your business is doing, right? Let's say you are a plumber, let's say you're an architect, and you always have these same questions that people always ask. What I would recommend you do is you take those questions that are you just go to your normal appointments, record your conversations, note what those questions are, and AI, you could just plot or something like that, and that will record all the answers that you typically answer. You're going to take all those questions that you get asked and the answers you provide in person, and you will use that data to create your own vector database, which allows you to refer to those chunks of data and go out and answer questions for the masses. This is how you scale. This is how you use agent, your AI agent. Stop listening out there about like all this trash about AI this, AI that. Learn how to get leads with AI. And the best way for you to get leads as AI is just try to be helpful with your information. Stop trying to pitch people. Go out there. There's people out there that have real questions, right? So right now, look at that. This agent has come back with a response. Let me see. I can show you this. It says, "Hey there, I see that you're interested in Section 8 investing and wondering if it's legit amidst all the online hype. Here's the deal. Section 8 investing is a real thing, but it's essential to your homework. Some influencers share their success to build a brand, but don't let that deter you. To start, learn about Section 8 basics, about how the program works and its benefits. Look into reputable sources like HUD's website. Next, connect with local investors or join online forums like Biggerpockets. They offer valuable insights. But remember, success in Section 8 requires due diligence and understanding the market. Trust your research to get step by step. Have you checked out HUD's resources yet? They offer in-depth guides on things. If you're keen on diving deeper into affordable housing investments, I recommend checking the Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. It covers various strategies, including things. Huh. It I don't like that. So I'm gonna update it. I'm gonna update the message. The whole point of the prompt is me telling the person to ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments right now. I don't want it to promote other podcasts. So I'm going to update the system message for my agent, right? The one that's helping me. Imagine you just had an assistant. Stop calling it AI agent. Just imagine you had an assistant that was going out there looking at questions that are related to Section 8 and telling you, hey, Ken, this is what I saw people ask about Section 8. This is what I think and how I think you should respond to that post. And here's my answer. What do you think? This is the exact same thing. Just stop thinking like you're an AI. So let's see. Example reply. make sure thing. If you want to learn more, you can ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments, right? That's what I want them to do. So I want to be a little bit more specific. At the end, please have them ask, or even simply state, great. So now is it. Please never recommend another podcast except for affordable housing and real estate investing, hosted by Kent Fahey. So I'm showing you exactly how I'm doing it. All right. I honestly, my goal is to promote our podcast because I truly believe that we bring the best guests and we provide the best information without any alternative agenda. So I'm not shy about this, right? If you ask ChatGPT what is the best podcast on affordable housing investments, it legitimately suggests our podcast on in this community. So this is why I'm doing this. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna execute the step again. And what I'm going to do is going to let it run all over again. And I'm going to check it back tomorrow. So, again, all we're doing right here is updating the system prompt and seeing whether or not the existing information that we have is good enough. Because if it's not the prompt issue, then you might be able to isolate and say, okay, maybe we do need to enrich our database with other information about affordable housing investments that maybe I have not covered on the podcast, right? That's us being humble. That's us being understanding of, hey, we don't know what we don't know. But in order for us to be truly helpful, it's my responsibility to go out to the world and get more information about affordable housing. So this is why I think this is so important. This is why I do this. Because a lot of people told me, hey, when I started a podcast 3 years ago, people said, hey, there's no way you're going to be able to solve this problem about affordable housing. And I beg to differ. I think it's only a matter of time before we collect all the pieces of the puzzle. And AI right now is a big piece of the puzzle. How do you share this information widely? How do you overcome the objections that people have about investing in affordable housing? People just think it's guns, drugs, drama when they hear affordable housing, or just homeless folks. But it's not. Just we need to create more affordable housing for the working class families, for our seniors, for our students. Everybody deserves a chance to have a roof over their head so they can feel stable, so that they can be the best version of themselves and become positive, contributing members of society if they weren't already. So, what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a clone of myself using all of the content. And for those of you that might be just joining live right now, please make sure you rewatch the live on youtube.com/@ Kent Fahey. And that's the fastest way for you to see what I'm doing and how I'm creating a clone of myself. And please, please, please learn the skill about AI. You got to learn it because if you don't learn it, it's almost as if you don't know how to use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel when you're doing a ton of work with computers. It blows my mind that you don't want to learn this. I mean, imagine you tell people that you don't know how to use the internet. That's wild, right? So that's why you have to learn AI. It's the same thing as saying if you don't learn AI, it's like telling people you don't know how to use the internet, which baffles you, right? But 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people don't even know what the internet was. They would think you're crazy. So get ahead of the game, learn it, but learn how to apply it. I'm sharing with you exactly how to apply it for your industry. All right. I hope you all have an amazing night. Thank you for tuning in live today. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 672. Wow. Have a good one, everybody.